Ishisan and me have a lot in common. See, both of us would rather burn to the ground than accept the dying of the light. What are we on? Night 4? Night 4. Keep track of these things. Third match of the tournament. Well, you know what they say about the irresistible force and the immovable object. 2 negative ions. The old saying, something's gotta give. And I ain't never give.
Hey, this is the ring assassin Alex Arsenal, and you're listening to Tiger Driver Radio, the king of podcasts.
And welcome to another episode of Tiger Driver Radio. This is your main man, J to the P, alongside his always loyal, Juicy J. What's up, dude? What's going on?
What up, man?
Not much, man.
Not much going on?
Okay, some things are going on. Unfortunately, I've been on these dating apps, man.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, dude, dating is hard. It's hard out here. It's hard out here for a pimp. It's hard.
I'm glad I don't have to date anymore.
Yeah, you're married. You're good. You got your queen. You're settled. You're good.
Yeah.
Me, on the other hand, I'm not so good.
I can't even imagine how it is dealing with all these websites and dating apps and people that are not really social anymore. You can't really talk to anybody.
Exactly. I was just talking about this the other day, man, about like how my dad says, like, back in the day, you just go up to girls and try to spit game, and now people don't really do that anymore.
Yeah.
And I wish it was kind of like that, because now, like, people look at you weird, like, why are you talking to me, like, at random, and I don't know. It's just weird.
Get out of here.
Yeah, like, why are you bothering me?
Yeah.
Like,
and you could turn back around and then look them up online and then talk to them there.
And then they'll suddenly actually respond to you.
Yeah.
Which that has happened to me.
Doesn't make sense.
It has no sense. And I know this has nothing to fucking do with wrestling and why are we even talking about this? But sometimes we do go on these random, like, side conversations before we get into business, but telling you, man, it's hard out here for a pimp, dude.
Man, what are you gonna do?
Is it too much to ask for a dime piece who loves New Japan as much as I do? I don't think that's too much to ask.
You should just given a bunch of your phone number to all the chicks in when we went to Dallas in the G1. Just, here's my phone number. Call me. Here's my phone number.
I'm telling you, man. Like a business card.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, call me and get 15% off your next purchase at ProWrestlingTees.com or something like that. That would have been an incentive. Like, if you call me, I will give you the code to get 15% off at ProWrestlingTees.com, but only if you call me. And
just start spitting your game after that.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll shoot my shot that way. I don't know, man. It's hard out here for a pimp, but I don't envy. Speaking of being hard and things being hard and difficult, the G1,
man,
18 nights of intense wrestling already underway. We were there in Dallas. We talked about that last week. Now we have nights 2, 3, and 4. And man, what a way it's been kicked off. So let's get into it, man. Let's stop talking about these broads.
Let's talk about G1.
Alrighty, man. And one thing that the G1 has always been known for, the Great One tournament, is the fact of how grueling and physically demanding and exhausting it truly is. And already we've already had 2 casualties of the tournament. Only 4 days into the tournament, Ospreay is apparently injured. Apparently it's nothing too serious, but he is injured. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. And then, of course, Kota Ibushi with a bum ankle. He did roll it in his opening match against Kenta in Dallas, and he did work through it in his next match Unfortunately, he lost. So he's lost 2 matches in a row. One against Kenta, and then the other one against...
and Evil.
He lost against Evil, that's right. So like when him losing against Evil, which I didn't see that happening either, but I'm pretty sure one of the things that you have to realize about this tournament is that I'm pretty sure, you never want anyone to get hurt. You never want people to shorten their careers. You want everybody to get through everything safe and sound. But this is a physically grueling tournament and probably one of the most physical styles on the planet. With that being said, Ibushi, unfortunately, still dealing with that ankle. I'm pretty sure with that, you kind of have to have to change the way you book this tournament. Yeah. Because of injuries, possibilities, and things like that. Although I'm pretty sure there's already winners and people they're going to put over who already decided long ago. Things can change. But the one thing I have to say is, I am shocked at just already, there's 2 injuries already in the tournament. And then secondly, already 4 nights into the tournament, you're seeing all these shocking surprises. Now, granted, you do see some surprises often early in the tournament. Usually it's just 1 or 2, and then everything kind of starts to kind of make sense. And this year is the first year in like a couple of years where it's like, whoa.
Like a lot of them.
Naito has lost, 2 in a row, which surprises me. Which I'm surprised that he lost against Taichi on his second night.
He lost against Yano.
He lost against Yano, which Yano always pulls an upset.
Yeah.
He always happens to pull an upset. And I guess this year it was Naito's turn. I just didn't think it would be back-to-back for Naito. Like I was like, whoa, holy shit. He got tricked. Okay, we'll give him that one. But then he got flat out beat by Taichi. And I'm like, whoa, they put Taichi over. And granted, Taichi also did lose his opener, his first match in the G1 against John Moxley, even though he tried his best to attack him on the outside and jump him from behind. Moxley did beat his ass, and I think to caveat off of that, Moxley has been really winning the crowd over. Like, he's aggressive as hell. He loves to fight. I think good chemistry or weird chemistry with Umino. Shota, yeah, the West. I love that. And the thing is, New Japan, like a lot of things aren't so character based like in the WWE. But the one thing I love about Moxley in New Japan is the fact that he's kind of being in the ring. He will beat your ass, and he's serious and he's violent, and he's kind of getting the respect of the New Japan audience because he's so aggressive and and just. He's a damn good wrestler. But then on the outside, he cuts these promos, and sometimes they're super serious, but there's always like hints of humor in it. And he's always just like fucking with Umino. And Umino looks so confused the whole time. Even Umino went on during one of the post-match comments, who even said something to the effect of like, I already have my hands full trying to keep up with John Moxley, and it's like, that's exactly what it is. John Moxley is a handful, and John Moxley's constantly like fucking with him. I don't know what it is. Like, what is it about Shota Umino?
Or why'd they even pick him?
I guess Umino. John Moxley just took a liking to Shota Umino.
From that match they had one time?
Yeah, from that match at one time. So he's like, all right, this kid has some fire in him. I can teach him.
I like him. Put him with me.
Yeah. It just shows you that Umino can be under the learning tree. If you can learn anything, from anybody, it's definitely John Moxley, a guy that's is probably one of the most versatile performers out there.
Yeah.
Especially with his deathmatch history and stuff like that. But so far in the G1, 2-0. Really awesome. Whether he wins it or not, too early to tell. But I'm really impressed with his showings against both Taichi and Jeff Cobb. And with him and Jeff Cobb, such a good back and forth match between those two. And the only thing that bums me out is that Cobb is 0-2. He lost against Moxley. Previously on night 2, he had this match against Tomohiro Ishii, and my God, Ishii punished the shit out of him, and Cobb would just keep taking it and coming back, and that was a damn good match. And the commentators even reiterated something I've said before, is that Ishii is one of the best performers on the roster and a damn good wrestler, but he just somehow hasn't been given the chance or been able to put it together to win the IWGP Heavyweight title or upper card title. And I think his time is soon, or if not soon, it needs to be now. I think Ishii definitely deserves to go out there.
Either this year or next year, but after that, I think he's done after that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it has to be now.
Yeah.
You know, he is a little bit on the older side of the roster. You know, but that's the thing. It's just like Ishii is so fucking good. He deserves more.
Yeah.
I think he deserves more. I mean, I know right now he's currently never openweight champion, but the fact is that I think he definitely deserves a higher title now.
Yeah.
Because when he delivers every time. Name a bad Ishii match. I can't. All of
them are good.
All of them are good. And on top of it, they're good, and they're just so brutal. And they're like, you know, and then, like I said, him and Jeff Cobb is definitely a match of the year candidate for me. You know, and like I said, I think Cobb is an amazing wrestler. God, he's so good, but he just can't seem to get the W.
Yeah.
In the G1. I'm shocked that he's, 0-2.
Yeah. It's just bizarre world right now. It's all weird. It's all screwy. Like the people that we think are going to win it, they don't.
They didn't. Yeah. And then on top of that, another guy that hasn't been able to kind of put things together is Tanahashi.
Yeah.
Tanahashi, of course, he lost against Okada. That match could have gone either way, opening night. But then on the next night, I believe it was like night number 3. It was him against Kenta, and there was a lot of tension in that crowd. Like, this crowd was like, oh man, like two icons. You got Kenta, who was known for being an icon in Pro Wrestling Noah. Of course, he had a less than admirable couple of years in WWE, and he's kind of come back to Japan to prove a point that he's still just as good as he ever was.
Yeah.
And he's out to kind of reintroduce the world as to why Kenta is as good as he says he is, and why people have said that he is as good as he once was. And
he's on a mission.
He's on a mission, and then Tanahashi is out there to still prove that he is the ace of New Japan still. Even a lot of people say he is past his prime. He can still do it.
Yeah.
And he is, of course, defending G1 champion right now. He is last year's winner. Of course, took the title from Kenny Omega on this year's Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah.
But the fact is that both of these men, like, you want to talk about icons in Japanese wrestling. You know, you have Kenta from Pro Wrestling Noah in the 2000s. Same thing with Tanahashi during the late 2000s up until a couple years ago. He was the ace. He is the guy. So both of these guys, it was a must-win situation. And Tanahashi just could not keep Kenta down. Like, even with him focusing on the leg, using his dragon screw leg whips and everything else and so on and so forth, and trying to focus in on that leg, Kenta would not stop kicking.
Yeah.
Just hitting those stiff kicks.
I think it's Shibata. He's ringside and he's looking at him, because I would be scared if Shibata was looking at me and checking how I was doing.
It's gotta be.
Man, I'm gonna go all out because Shibata's right there, and if I don't perform well, it's not gonna go well at the end.
Yeah, exactly. Because I know, like, it's been said that Shibata is coaching both Kenta and Goto.
Yeah.
Who, by the way, I am super impressed that Goto finally was able to score a pinfall over Jay White, because I know they've had a couple of matches this year, and he just can never quite get that W, and he finally did.
Yeah.
Granted, he had to hit every fucking finisher in a row just to pin Jay White. Like, he had to hit the Ojikaroshi, what's the other finisher of his, and I always forget, where he just strikes him over his knee, and he's had to pretty much every trademark move that is with Goto. I apologize for not remembering his finishers off the top of my head right now. He hit every single finisher in a row just to pin him. And even then, Jay White was still trying to kick out, even though he couldn't kick out. And I was shocked. And it's not that I'm shocked because Goto isn't good. Goto is also another wrestler like Ishii that I think definitely deserves more. And I think you could tell Goto has lost some weight. He's trimmed down. He's a little bit more cut. He's moving faster. He's wrestling a little differently. You could tell that he kind of seems reinvigorated.
Yeah, he's one of my favorites right now for the tournament.
Exactly. So he's definitely doing, a really good job so far.
Yeah.
He got the pinfall over Jay White. However, he did lose against Juice Robinson, which also Juice Robinson also had a very impressive win on his opening night against Shingo Takagi, which he's officially the second person to pin Shingo Takagi. As much as I like Juice Robinson, I didn't think he was going to be the second guy to pin Shingo, let alone be also a guy to pin Goto either. So, like I said, Goto is, he's 1-1. Juice Robinson, of course, is, 4-0, on points.
Yeah, he's up there. I wouldn't expect
I didn't expect that either, especially compared to last year's performance, where he was also U.S. champion last year. And then, of course, with that being said, it's so shocking. Right now, Okada is 4-0. Mm-hmm. Zack Sabre is still 0-2.
That sucks.
Which sucks. Because but the thing about like Zack Sabre Jr. is that despite the fact that he has lost both times, he's one of those X factors in the tournament where even if you beat Zack Sabre Jr., he wore you down.
Yeah.
And usually that affects your performance later on in the tournament. I'm just shocked that Zack Sabre Jr. has not won any matches just yet. Which, like I said, if you lose 2 in a row, you're starting to come into dangerous territory early on. Because, like I said, the whole premise of this is you're safer the more matches you win. You want to win them all. Sometimes you don't. But even with that being said, even the IWGP champion in these tournaments has lost the tournament and or has lost 1 to 2 to maybe 4 matches and made it. So that's the interesting thing about the G1 is that points matter, especially if you're that guy that is right there on the cusp. Like, if you win this next match, you could go to the final. But if you win this next match, but if somebody else wins that has a little bit more points than you, they knocked you out. So the whole point is to get as many possible points as possible in this tournament. But with that being said, it's really scary to think that Ospreay, who of course lost to Lance Archer in the first night, won an incredible contest against Sonata, in his night 3.
Yeah, that was amazing.
I mean, definitely a match of the year candidate. And it just shows you that, like, also I think Sonata is right there. He's right at the cusp of breaking into the top, just like Ospreay. And both of those guys, 2 of the most physically gifted guys on the roster.
Both these guys.
Exactly. Like, I would not be mad at either or.
I don't like that chant, by the way.
Both these guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a little cheesy. But I mean, no less. I mean, you can't deny that both of these guys are at the cusp of getting to that next level in their career. Especially Sonata, which Sonata, each time he's faced Okada, has become that much closer to beating him. And who knows? Maybe Sonata might even be this year's G1. We don't know. I have a feeling that if the way things have played out thus far, you're going to see new stars being made.
Like Archer?
Exactly. Archer, of course, 2 in a row.
Yeah.
2 in a row. Like, of course, he beat Ospreay. Shocker. But then again, it wasn't a shocker because it is his hometown. So maybe they decided to give him for that. But then he beat Fale clean.
Yeah.
And it's like, holy shit. And then the next match is against Kenta. So, and the thing is, like, that's a big test for Kenta because Kenta is a smaller guy against a guy like Archer who up until right before this tournament, I would have thought, okay, Archer's going to be one of those guys that he's kind of menacing, but he'll get a couple of wins. He'll throw some people out of the brackets. He'll kind of be like the wild card, but he's not going anywhere. But I'm wrong.
He's on a rampage. He might be the guy to give Kenta his first loss in New Japan. Yeah.
Who knows? Who knows? He might even go so far as to take the block.
Yeah.
And maybe even like I said, that's the beauty of the G1 is that you don't know. And I feel like this year is especially harder because you have so many.
Many people on a mission trying to prove something.
And then on top of that, you have such a stacked roster of just amazing talent this year. I mean, for Christ's sake, Kenta versus everybody are dream matches. John Moxley versus anybody, dream matches. Ospreay versus anybody as a heavyweight, dream match. Ibushi versus anybody, dream. Like I said, it's just, even though a lot of these guys have been wrestling here in New Japan for a while, that doesn't necessarily mean they've had that many matches against each other per se.
So let's say you were the booker for this, I wouldn't figure out who to put over, like, at all.
It's hard. It's really, really, really hard, especially because, like, at the end of the day, like, you just want, you really truly want to put over the right guys and to make stars, as well. You want to make stars out of this.
Yeah.
And you want to maximize the talent that you have, and that's the thing. That's just like where do you, as a booker, how do you maximize? How do you maximize your talent in order to do that?
Especially with all these competing wrestling promotions, you want to make sure not just short-term booking, but also long-term.
Exactly. You
So
want
it
to.
would- I don't know.
Exactly. You want to make stars. And then speaking of making stars, I mean, the cool thing that I thought that was awesome is that Clark Connors and Carl Fredericks, who are from the LA Dojo, finally making their way to Japan to wrestle on these shows. And Carl Fredericks, of course, made Ren Narita tap out with a brutal half crab, no less, on one of the nights. And you see that they're kind of getting in the face of Shota Umino, who in my opinion is kind of, I guess, the strongest young lion in this current class.
Yeah.
And I will say this right now. Clark Connors is impressive, but Carl Fredericks, mark my words, he is a future IWGP Heavyweight Champion as a foreigner.
Oh snap! That's really bold.
I'm calling it right now.
Dang.
And if not IWGP champion, let's say for some reason he decides not to continue with New Japan, which I'm pretty sure at this point he will, especially if you're a young lion.
Yeah. Maybe go Ring of Honor route.
Ring of Honor, maybe even AEW. I have a feeling that guy is a future main event star.
He's good.
Yeah, and the thing is, you could say that with any young lions. Like I said, I'm pretty sure when people in the very beginning, Okada wasn't looked at very favorably. He wasn't very good. In fact, he lost a lot of matches. He just didn't quite get grasp of the fundamentals. He didn't really have a grip on who he was. He had his terrible run in TNA as like a Kato character for Samoa Joe. And then, of course, he wrestled in Chikara in the United States, wrestled all over the place. And then he came back, and a lot of people were like, well, who is this fucking guy? Like, what? Who's this guy challenging Tanahashi? And beats Tanahashi in his first day back, So you could never really truly know as a young lion will be a future star. But I feel like sometimes you look at certain young lions or you look at certain younger stars and you'd be like, that guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you look at it like, okay, that guy will be a big name. And I have a feeling Carl Fredericks will be that guy out of the LA Dojo.
I can see it. He even has a look too.
He has, exactly. Like I said, what is it? Say remember Tessa Blanchard said something about when she was training, to kind of caveat from New Japan for a second, but Tessa Blanchard said something that, her stepfather, Magnum TA, legend from the NWA, said he witnessed her first match or witnessed her training, and she's like, well, what do you think? And he's like, well, you're not good, but you have it. Like, you would just have it, like the it factor. Everyone always hears about the it factor, and I feel like Carl Fredericks, much like Shota Umino, has the it factor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
nobody knows what it is.
Nobody knows what it is, but you just
there.
You got and you could see it, right? Like you got that look, man.
Yeah.
And so I'm really excited to see how the young lions are definitely going to bring out the best in each other, because I always enjoy seeing the young lions and seeing them develop. And even though a lot of people think, oh, this is boring, all they can do is drop kicks and body slams and simple submissions, but I think that's the beauty of it, is that they're able to take the most simplified things and master that, and who can outdo each other with simple tools. It's not about 450 splashes. It's not about
and then also show their charisma and personality with just moves.
Yeah, exactly, just those moves.
It's hard,
because the thing is, at the end of the day, and like I said, I myself am not a wrestler. I've had friends who have wrestled, but I'm pretty sure it's safe to say that if you don't have a grasp of the fundamentals, you're not going to go very far. So if you're able to make an impact with just the basic fundamentals, just imagine what you can do to build off of that and then some, because you've mastered those fundamentals, which has been one of the biggest proponents and reasons why I have always personally loved Japanese wrestling a little bit more than what we see in certain Western promotions. Like I said, everyone always says to this day, if you want to learn how to go work, go to Japan. If you want to learn showmanship and how to really balance yourself in the ring, you go to Mexico. If you want to learn about the business as a whole and have kind of a hodgepodge of a little bit of this and there, the United States is a great ground. I mean, there's so many options where you can work. But I'm really excited to see what these young lions, have in store. And I'm really glad that finally we're seeing these LA guys come over to New Japan. Because I was talking about that. It's like, when is it going to be time for them to come to New Japan and wrestle on on Japanese tours, not to wrestle in Ring of Honor, not to wrestle in the UK, but to come to New Japan Pro Wrestling, and finally they're here.
Yeah, and they're put over because when they wrestle in Ring of Honor, they're just like jobbers.
They're jobbers, yeah, exactly.
Which makes sense in Ring of Honor, but here in New Japan, I mean, they could excel and they could show what they're made of.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so I'm
cool.
really excited. Like I said, Carl Fredericks, mark my fucking words, future star.
Yeah.
Just like Shota Umino is also my guy.
Yeah.
Mark my words. It's Carl Fredericks versus Shota Umino, Tokyo Dome. Give it 6-7 years.
Dang.
Give it 6-7 years. Those two are the guys.
I would love that.
That'll be that'll be the next generation's Omega and Okada, like foreigner versus Japanese. Mark my fucking words.
Man.
Remember this conversation.
I will.
That's how big I am. That's how big I am onto both Shota Umino and Carl Fredericks as Young Lions. And maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Might be Ren Narita.
Yeah.
Don't know that.
Man.
Who knows?
I will remember it because it's our 30th episode, so I will remember.
Oh, you know what?
Conversation.
I'm glad you brought that up, dude. 30th episode.
Yeah.
Man. But before we get on to that, has your feeling about who is going to go forward in New Japan in advance changed with these first couple of nights? Because it has for me.
Yeah, me too.
It shattered everything. Because in my head, I'm thinking Kota Ibushi is taking his fucking bracket.
Yeah.
Now I'm not so sure about that.
No.
I thought Ospreay was going to. That's up in jeopardy now. I thought Tanahashi was going to have a stronger showing. No. He's lost 2 in a row already.
If you would just look at everything that has happened recently, you would say Archer was going to win the whole thing.
You could. Yeah. You could see it like Archer and Kenta.
Yeah.
Might be I don't know. And then Moxley's doing great.
Yeah.
Tight Goto. Like I said, everybody has a mission. And I'm really, really excited to see how this all pans out, man.
Yeah.
But on that note, man, it's our 30th episode, man. Let's talk about it. Man, 30 episodes, bro.
We did it. We're getting there.
I mean, how many people?
Our goal is 100 or more.
Our goal is 100.
We're going to keep going as far as we can.
We're going to go as far as we can. We want more listeners. So people out there, if you haven't already, tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your dad, tell your uncle, tell your cousins. Even if you don't talk to them, you don't like them. Just tell them. Tell them about Tiger Driver Radio. We talk about New Japan. We talk a little bit about the indies. Enjoy pro wrestling. Talk about it more. But I am so stoked that 30 episodes, consistent episodes.
Consistent.
Because, the one thing about a podcast is I don't think people truly realize how much work
it's a lot
goes into making a podcast. Because a lot of people who they say, oh, I'll start a podcast, and they'll do it maybe once a month or every other week. No, we bring this show to you weekly. So anybody,
not an easy task.
It's not an easy task. And to be honest, there are many weeks where both you and I are like, do you want to take a break this week?
Yeah.
But that just shows you that we love not only pro wrestling, but we love to entertain you guys.
Yeah.
And
when we start recording, I think it energizes.
Exactly, because I had a very long fucking day today, man. And I was like, fuck, I'm tired, and I got to get up even earlier tomorrow. And I was like, fuck, I'm gonna be so drained. But then the moment the mic kicks on, I'm happy again. And I got New Japan playing in the background. I was like, you know what? All is well in the world.
Makes you feel better.
Yeah, all I need now is a susia, is some hose.
I can't believe you just said that.
Yeah, man, that's all I need is some susias, man.
I'm gonna have to cut this out.
Are you? Don't.
No.
This is unfiltered. Yeah, it's unfiltered, man. Unfiltered. For any of you ladies listening out there, email me.
What?
Email me. I'll let you pin me 1, 2, 3, maybe even longer. Exactly. God, what's wrong? See what happens when I don't eat? I need to grab a Snickers.
Yeah, I think we should go back to filtered instead of unfiltered.
Yeah, just unfiltered, man. Unfiltered. Raw dog. Anyway, you know what? Tell them why we're here right now.
We're here? What do you mean? At this moment recording?
Yes. Why is this episode so important?
Because it's the 30th episode.
30th episode. Enough about these chicks. All right. So 30th episode. It's a lot of hard work, ladies and gentlemen. And we decided to make it even a little more harder for us,
Yeah.
in tribute to this being our 30th episode, we decided to come up with a comprehensive list of 30 of the best wrestlers that are in their 30s. That's a really weird list, but it's appropriate. So how we decided to break this down was that Juicy J picks 15.
That's me.
And then I pick 15. Now, whether we have some of the same, that's fine. Now, we're going to break a little rule. You can even throw in some WWE guys in there.
Yeah.
If you want.
What about women?
The women, too.
Okay.
And in fact, tag teams will only take one spot.
Okay.
So, but they have to be at least 30 to 39.
Yeah.
So on that note, let's get to it.
Let's get to this list.
Lest you be considering any sort of uprising, I warn you, I am quite prepared to make an example of any undesirable elements. And don't think I don't know who you are. As someday it may happen that a victim must be found, I've got a little list.
All right, man. Now that we're going to talk about this, okay, we decided to both pick 15 wrestlers that we feel are the best in the world right now. 15 in the world that are 30. Not 29, not 40, definitely not 65, definitely not 21. But who in their 30s are out there killing it right now? And we decided to break a rule and focus, on everybody. Now, granted, I tried to try to focus things on in Japan, but it is hard. It's there's so much good wrestling out there.
Yeah.
And then we narrowed it down to only people in their 30s, which kind of makes it even harder.
Yeah,
but we did it.
It takes a lot of people out of your list.
Exactly. Can't put Ospreay.
No.
Can't put Bea Priestley. Couldn't put
Nick Jackson. Ray Phoenix.
Or Ray Phoenix. So there's a lot of wrestlers out there that are just very young right now. That you can't do anything with.
Yeah, which is a good thing.
Which is a good thing.
Up and coming stars.
They
still have a lot of years ahead of them.
Exactly. Yeah. All willing that they can still take bumps. They have a very long career ahead of them.
Yeah.
But with that being said, we decided to play paper, rock, scissors. So Juicy J is up first, giving his 15 best wrestlers in the world who are in their 30s.
15 wrestlers.
All right, let's go.
Number 15.
Shut up.
So on number 15, I have Psycho Clown.
Psycho Clown.
Psycho Clown from AAA, man. He's like the face of AAA right now. He's like the John Cena of AAA, you could say. He doesn't even have to be a champion. That guy's over.
He's super popular.
Yeah, he's 33 years old. I mean, still young.
Still young. Still has many years ahead of him.
Yeah. So that's my number 15.
Solid choice.
Number 14.
I keep doing that till I annoy you.
Good grief.
Number 14, at 35 years young, I have Taya Valkyrie, the current knockout champion.
Solid choice.
Yeah. So she's doing a lot right now. She has a match with Tessa Blanchard, I think, in Madison Square Garden for that show they have coming up. I think it's in August or September. So that's why I got her on there. She's been doing a lot. She's still working the indies. Oh, yeah. Number 13, at 35 years young, I have Brian Cage.
Ooh, good choice.
Should have him higher probably, but as a current Impact champion, same thing as Taya. She's working several promotions. Brian Cage even this year was doing some AAA as well, and this guy's everywhere. So everyone talks about him. Seems like a cool guy. I want to meet him, talk to him. At number 12, I have Sonata, and we talked about him earlier. This guy is probably going to be champion pretty soon. That's my number 12. At number 11, I have Shingo Takagi, which he did great in the junior heavyweight tournament.
Best of Super Juniors?
Best of Super Juniors, exactly. He almost went undefeated. He's not doing so great right now in the G1, but I think he's going to maybe get a comeback towards the end of the tournament. A lot to come from him later on. That's why I have him number 11. Number 10, I have Ibushi at 37 years young. And I mean, what can you say that's bad about him? I mean, he's Ibushi. What's surprising about him is that he's 37. I thought he was like 31 maybe, or 30.
Yeah, he looks amazing.
He looks like he's 18, this guy.
Guy has great genes.
Yeah, so I got him for number 10. And number 9, another 37-year-old, I have Naito. And the leader of Los Ingobernables de Japón.
Good choice.
At number 9. At number 8, I have Tai Chi. One of my favorites right now, Tai Chi.
Never thought I would have been saying that as of a year ago.
Yeah. I didn't like him at all before.
Exactly.
But I have a number
How old is
8.
he?
He's 39 years young.
Wow, he looks way younger.
Yeah. He was almost out of... I couldn't even pick him at maybe just one more year. He would have been 40. But
Wow.
he's 39.
Close.
Yeah, he does look younger, though. You're right.
Looks way younger.
At number 7, I have Zack Sabre Jr. Number 7.
How old is he?
He is 31
Wow,
years
very
old.
young.
This guy, I enjoy all his matches. All of them I enjoy thoroughly. It's like all the way the things he does in every match, the different ways he could tap you out. Number 7. At number 6, I have 33 years young Charlotte Flair.
Good one.
I have Charlotte Flair in here. At number 6. Again, kind of like Ibushi, you can't say anything bad about her. So at number 5, I have Matt Jackson at 34 years old. I was gonna go with the combo of Matt and Nick, but as you said earlier, I mean, Nick is a lot younger. So I can have them both. I can not have both of them on here, but Matt Jackson, 34 years old. Number 5. Number 4, I have 34 years old Cody Rhodes.
Very solid choice.
Yep. Number 3, I have Kenny Omega, 35 years old. I mean, these next 3 for my number 3 to 2nd and 1st. I mean, I think they're top guys anywhere right now. Because my number 2 at 34 years old is Pentagon Jr. Cero Miedo.
Cero Miedo.
And my number 1 at 31 years old, Okada.
Very solid choice. Not a lot of people right now would argue with you.
Yeah.
At least I don't think they would.
Yep, that's my list, man.
That's your list. Very solid list, man. I will say this right now. You and I have a couple of similarities.
Yeah.
But a lot of differences too, you know. So with that being said, at number 15,
Yeah.
I put Sami Callihan.
Sami Callihan.
At 31 years old, the reason why I picked him is the fact is that a guy that pretty much took control of his destiny, left, the safe confines, according to him, the safe paycheck of NXT and WWE to be his own man, and organically put himself over everywhere and has made himself a star.
Yeah.
I think I think at this point now he could definitely call his shots and work for a bigger organization if he wanted to.
Definitely can.
But he is definitely a big name and has definitely gotten himself. I think he truly found himself at the good old age of 31. So hopefully he has many more years ahead of him. And
he's a scary dude live.
Scary dude live, yeah. He does not play around.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Awesome guy to talk to though.
Yep.
And then at 14, Taya Valkyrie, I think one of the women outside of the WWE that has truly showcased how good women's wrestling can be. She is bilingual, has done a lot of awesome work in Mexico in AAA throughout her history, as well as working on the indies in America, and of course started to make a bigger name for herself as a member of Impact, current Knockouts champion. So at 14, Taya Valkyrie.
Yeah. Did we have that one the same? I think we did.
I think we did. And then at 13, from All Japan Pro Wrestling, a guy and a lot of people consider one of their up-and-coming aces, kind of like what Okada is to Tanahashi, and that's Kento Miyahara from All Japan Pro Wrestling at the age of 30. He is their double champion. Kento Miyahara has, in fact, wrestled a tag match earlier this year against Tanahashi, and I think one of the most awesome workers outside of New Japan and in the world, and I think a lot more people need to know who this kid is.
Yeah.
Kento Miyahara, amazing worker all around, awesome look at number 13. And then number 12, Shingo Takagi at 36. Like I said, he is I've always celebrated Shingo Takagi for making the most simple things look devastating. A clothesline, a body slam, a suplex. Like, he has a couple of fancy moves, but the thing is he tends to find brutality and simplicity, and I love it. He did very well in the Best of Super Juniors. Unfortunately, lost to Will Ospreay. Lost against Juice Robinson, in the G1. But like I said, it's an early G1. He might pull out an upset, or not even an upset. He might pull it out and win, his bracket, or even win the whole tournament as a whole. But I think Shingo Takagi has definitely elevated himself in these past 2 years, ever since he left Dragon Gate.
Yeah.
So good for him. I think Shingo is definitely a bona fide contender for an upper echelon title down the road. Never mind the junior heavyweight tag division. He's held that a few times already. Let's see him actually hold a heavyweight singles title. I think he can.
For sure.
And then up next, barely able to make this list at the age of 39, is the founder of Sendai Women's Pro Wrestling, Meiko Satomura. A woman who, you might have seen her in the Mae Young Classic, had an awesome match against Toni Storm. Awesome matches internationally. Also a big proponent of intergender wrestling as well. She had a match in England for Battle Club Pro. I think it was either Battle Club Pro. Maybe I'm getting promotions confused, but she did wrestle against Pete Dunne. Brutal match. Also had a couple of intergender matches in Japan as well. But Meiko Satomura is by far one of the most awesome all-around women's wrestlers. Definitely brings it in the ring. You know, was also even wrestled, even though she was much older, Manami, one of the few people of this current generation to wrestle Manami Toyota back in her prime. So Meiko Satomura got to wrestle a Japanese Joshi women's legend at a very young age. So Meiko Satomura, in my opinion, is one of the most well-rounded and experienced wrestlers, especially in Joshi women's wrestling, in the world. And I just hope the world gets a chance to see more of her, because Meiko Satomura is completely awesome. Also, one of the people that's been helping Sasha Banks in Japan. So there you have it right there. That's and cool. Then at number 10, unfortunately, I couldn't include them as a tag team. I wanted to put Pentagon Jr. and Ray Phoenix. Yeah. But Ray Phoenix is too young. Pentagon Jr. at 34 years old at number 10. Simply because the guy has basically taken the Pentagon gimmick. Because a lot of times masks and gimmick do get passed on to the next generation, whether it's a nephew or a son. He's taken the Pentagon gimmick and he's taken it and morphed it into something his own. Because in the past, Pentagon was kind of like a lucha libre / martial arts. You know, he had a little bit of a martial arts feel to him.
Because he was the opposite of Octagon, which was another martial arts guy. Exactly. But he was just kind of like a kung fu guy.
He was a kung fu guy, yeah, exactly.
So it wasn't...
But he was also a face.
Yeah.
You know, it was like two faces against each other. But the thing is, Pentagon has taken that and ran with that gimmick. Yeah. And not even a gimmick, just that lineage. I'm going to call it a lineage. Has taken that and has put it over, you know, from his time as a solo guy in Lucha Underground. And then from there deciding to team with his brother to take on America. And they have, in the past couple of years, have established themselves as one of the most dominant tag teams in the world. And now to see them in AEW, it's awesome to see them take their skills to the next level, and they are getting over so huge, and I'm so happy for them. But you cannot, as much as Ray Phoenix is also individually talented, he is too young for this list. But I think in a lot of ways, Pentagon Jr. knocked down the doors a little bit for Ray Phoenix. Yeah. He's like, okay, I'm good, but wait till you see my younger brother, who's also amazing by himself. I need my older brother. So at 34 years old, Pentagon Jr. is my number 10. Cool. And then at number 9, Adam Cole. I think Adam Cole has done such a phenomenal job in NXT. Like I said, we don't talk about WWE and NXT here very often, but I do watch it on occasion, you know, and Adam Cole is one of the most interesting and dynamic wrestlers on that roster, because he is a perfect combination of being able to wrestle and blend with anybody in the ring, and at the same time be amazing on the mic and have natural charisma. Yeah. Okay, he might be on the smaller end, but you wouldn't know it with how cocky he is.
Yeah, if he wouldn't have left, he would be a top AEW guy right now.
Yeah, exactly. Or, you know, he would have, I think he probably could have had the chance to go even farther in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Yeah. But, you know, we'll never know, and that's quite all right. Nonetheless, Adam Cole is killing it in NXT right now as a member of
Undisputed
Era. And then at number 8, the tag team of GOD, Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa, both at 36 years old.
G.O.D., man.
G.O.D., in my opinion, also one of the other dominant tag teams in the world right now.
You know what's weird about them? I thought Tama Tonga was older, but he's the young one.
Yeah, he's the younger one of that 36.
Yeah, it looks the other way.
Exactly.
Just looking at him.
But nonetheless, awesome tag team. I'm looking forward to this weekend. You know, at the time of this recording, they are going to have another match against the Briscoes in a New York City street fight at Hammerstein Ballroom. Looking forward to that. I will be watching that. We'll talk about it a little bit later. But GOD, one of my favorite tag teams in the world for a long time now. And then at number 7, Kenny Omega. Now, granted, a lot of people feel like the past 2 years were Kenny Omega's best years. I think the best is still ahead of him. I think right now you're seeing a slow buildup of him in the promotion in AEW. And with him being, it's like, okay, if Cody Rhodes and the Bucks are the brains behind the business aspect of AEW, Kenny Omega is the artistic vision and passion for AEW. And I think with Kenny Omega's vision and drive, he wants to see something different, something of an alternative, and he's bringing that to America. And who better to, be part of that charge into something different for wrestling fans than Kenny Omega, who is the best bout machine, still one of the best in the world. And then at number 6, Jon Moxley at 33 years old. Talk about a guy that's taken his ball. And a lot of people say like, oh, he just couldn't hack it in WWE. I don't look at it that way. I know some people do, but I think he's like, you know what? Fuck this. I can do better elsewhere. And he already is. Talk about a guy who he's been able to get himself over by doing a run in an AEW for 10 minutes and get himself way over in 5 to 10 minutes than he did in 2 years on WWE television. And then of course his work in New Japan has been awesome. He's impressed those Japanese crowds. So I really feel like Jon Moxley has really broken out of his prison, if you will, and has definitely been able to show the world on how amazing he truly is. For fuck's sake, that match with him and Janela,
That was crazy.
That was fucking insane and awesome. And then at number 5, Kota Ibushi. Despite having a very rough G1 start, Kota Ibushi, for the past several years, in my opinion, has been one of the best wrestlers in the world, period. Whether he has a title or not, you can't deny how amazing he is in the ring. That's all I have to say, is that Kota Ibushi is the embodiment of what is good about pro wrestling. And I love him for it, and I hope he is a future IWGP Heavyweight Champion. And I think he will be. Just a matter of time, hopefully sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
And then at number 4, Seth Rollins at 33. Fortunately, he just recently lost his title to Brock Lesnar. Fucking surprise for WWE programming. Fuck. But the fact is that Seth Rollins has always been a good hand. He's always been able to gel with anybody. He is naturally charismatic, awesome in the ring with anybody. I think he is the perfect guy to definitely, especially when WWE was struggling with how to really handle the Roman Reigns thing, when Roman Reigns, of course, had cancer and had to step out. I think it was great for them to finally push Seth Rollins. And I think he's done a great job, as much as I'm hypercritical of WWE, I do keep track, and I think he's done a very good job being a champion and being, a focal point of television. Even though the ratings aren't the greatest right now, Seth Rollins is overall a phenomenal wrestler who is only 33 years old. And then at number 3, Cody Rhodes at 34 years old. Talk about another guy that's basically left WWE and
Stardust.
And the Stardust gimmick, good grief, and was able to take that drive and that passion and that vision and that love of why he loves pro wrestling, and has had a phenomenal couple of, who would have thought when he got released as Stardust? When I remember a couple years ago when he left WWE, I thought, okay, he'll go to Impact, maybe he'll go to Japan, it'll be cool, he'll get to wrestle a lot of big names on the indies, it's going to be awesome. And then eventually maybe he'll go back to WWE when he kind of proves that he can make it on his own.
Yeah.
Little did we know, several years later, all it took, he would be the president of his own company, a co-owner of his own company that's making waves, that's making changes. He's had some phenomenal matches these past couple of years, not only on the indies, but especially with Nick Aldis that he had last year. Of course, you can't forget that match that he had with his brother, the natural Dustin Rhodes, aka Goldust.
Yeah.
He had this awesome tag match he had with the Young Bucks this past weekend at a Fight for the Fallen. Mm-hmm. He's had great showings in New Japan. He's taken the ball and he's run with it, and he's shown you the prime example that there is a possibility of life out of WWE. And I rank him that high because only at 34 years old, he's been able to accomplish so much. It's amazing. And then number 2, at 37 years old, Tetsuya Naito. I think Naito needs the IWGP Heavyweight belt next. I think he's so over with the crowd, even when he's not necessarily wrestling some insane match against Kota Ibushi or wrestling another classic with Okada. Naito is so organically over just on his charisma. Like, he could basically show up, wrestle a half-ass match, and the crowd will love him for it. And it's very, and I think, Japanese fans are loyal because of good work rate and how good you are in the ring. But the thing is that Naito is so organically over just on his charisma and his attitude alone. I mean, he's an awesome wrestler. I'm not taking anything away from his wrestling. He's fucking awesome. But I think one of the best things to happen to him was one of the worst things to happen to him. And that's the fact that the New Japan crowd turned on him. And at that time, you could think, man, that's it. His career's fucked. His career's over. Nobody gives a shit about this kid. He goes to Mexico for a while, comes back, and is like, fuck you to the audience. It's like, fuck you. And then starts his own stable. And he goes from being basically a wrestler that the crowd turned on to being one of the most over guys in New Japan.
Yoshihashi's going to do that. He's going to go to Mexico and come back.
I think it's just too late for that guy. Just fucking let him go already. Tell you who the worst wrestler is in the 30s. Anyway, and then at the top
Number 1.
is Okada. Same thing as you.
Yep.
He is the embodiment of what a champion should be for a company. He is the ace. He looks good, can wrestle with anybody. Just what else do I need to say that hasn't been said about Kazuchika Okada?
That guy's amazing.
The guy is amazing. He is, he is basically the it guy in New Japan, and is, I think, the perfect guy to bring New Japan to foreign audiences outside of Japan. And Okada, and he's only 31 years old, still young.
Yeah.
Still so young. Still has many years ahead of him.
Yeah, didn't Above Average Ed, shout out to him, but he said that he's a savant in the ring, and I think I agree with him.
Well, Okada?
Yeah.
Absolutely. He's a savant in the ring in the sense that, I mean, there's a lot of wrestlers that can wrestle different styles, but Okada has always been able to maintain who he is in the ring against other wrestlers. I mean, and a lot of people would argue that Kenny Omega was way more athletic than Okada. I can agree to that. Yeah. Okada still was able to hold his own. Mm-hmm. Or Okada has been able to hold his own against, Will Ospreay, who Ospreay is, is an athletic freak,
Yeah.
But Okada can hold his own. It doesn't matter. He doesn't necessarily need all the fancy things and they need to be hyper athletic to get over with the crowd. He has this natural look and this charisma and this ability to kind of change his style as need be. So Okada is number 1 on my list.
Number 1.
What's wrong with your voice, dude? Oh.
I need water.
Need water. Okay, fine. But on that note, those are our best wrestlers who are in their 30s between you and I. We decided to do 15 and 15. And we know, like I said, we only had a couple that were the same, but we had a lot of differences.
I think we had great choices. Even though it was so hard. Again, there was a lot of people we couldn't pick because they were not 30 yet, or they were just 40 now, or maybe they're 29, whatever it was.
Can't pick Minoru Suzuki.
So you can't get mad at us. So if you listen to this and like, why didn't pick this guy? Well, we can't because they're not 30.
Not in their 30s, man. That's it. Those are 30 slots of wrestlers. Some of them we shared. Best 30 for 30, man. But on that note, man,
want to go to some other news?
Let's talk about a little bit of news before we call it a day. News. Alrighty. So check this out, man. This past weekend was Fight for the Fallen. Awesome show, dedicated towards donating money towards those who have been victims of gun violence. I thought that it was a little fucked up that at the same time, suddenly WWE wanted to counter program that pay-per-view by saying, hey, we're going to show Evolve's 10-year anniversary on the WWE Network only. And granted, Evolve has been an indie for the past decade, under Gabe Sapolsky, who was, of course, Paul Heyman's protege, if you will. He's been running Evolve. And, Evolve has been an amazing promotion within itself. I mean, they've produced a lot of stars. Darby Allin has come from Evolve, Ethan Page, to name a few. Of course, you have Matt Riddle, Drew Gulak, all guys who have basically were members of Catch Point, who were basically big figureheads in Evolve. Of course, Drew McIntyre was able to revive his career because of Evolve. Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, Akira Tozawa, TJP. Some of the biggest names, these names have come from Evolve. And I take nothing away from Evolve as a promotion. It is an awesome promotion. Still go out there and support Evolve. But I have a feeling that had it not been for AEW putting on this show at this time, I don't think WWE would have given a flying fuck to put Evolve on the network for this 10th anniversary. Because I understand that Evolve has a working relationship with WWE. They're kind of like a farm system for NXT. Like they'll have a look, at who's in Evolve and be like, all right, we'll take this guy. We'll take that guy. And then, Zack Sabre Jr. even wrestled in Evolve for a while. Same thing with Walter.
Oh, cool.
And there's a lot of people that have gone through that promotion, but I just feel that I think it's pretty fucking obvious that the only reason why they ran that show on the network was just to find a way to counter program Fight for the Fallen. It's competition. I just think it's a little underhanded that they were counter they're trying to counter run against pretty much a charity event.
Yeah.
It just shows you that they don't give a flying fuck.
Yeah, I mean they're throwing shots at each other right now.
Absolutely.
So
I just think that it's funny because like at the end of the day, AEW has stated that they want to be an alternative, not necessarily compete. But you'd be lying if both of these companies aren't throwing jabs at each other because they want to outdo each other.
Yeah.
I will say that Fight for the Fallen was overall a good show.
Yeah.
There's only a couple of gripes that I have, and that's one that there was some production errors. Like there was this random subtitles suddenly on the screen during the tag match. Which was Bea Priestley's debut. Bea Priestley, who's the current, champion out of Stardom. So it was really cool to see her on TV. I could see why people think I could see why she's that good. Mm-hmm. This is actually my first time seeing Bea Priestley wrestle, and she's amazing. Good. She's awesome. I think what slowed down the match was the fact that Britt Baker was messing up a lot, but apparently she was messing up a lot because she suffered a concussion mid-match, like went into the wrong corner to tag out, and then of course just seemed a little off with her timing. But I felt like Bea Priestley, I don't know if you caught this as well, but Bea Priestley was kind of the anchor in that match. She kind of saved that match.
Yeah, it wasn't for her. It
would have been much better if had that not been for that unfortunate accident. But I will say this right now: it is nice that they're kind of setting a rivalry between Britt Baker and Bea Priestley. Bea Priestley outclasses Britt Baker hands down. Awesome! It was really cool to see in this show that they were definitely building up storylines for All Out come Labor Day weekend, and also to kind of further push the product a little bit. Of course, they're really awesome to see that Jericho took a bad cheap shot against Hangman Adam Page, busted his eye open real bad, real nasty black eye. And on top of that, and then of course seeing that match of like Janela and Jimmy Havoc and Darby Allin against Shawn Spears, MJF, and Sammy Guevara, such a clash of styles and personalities. Really awesome tag match there. I really enjoyed seeing that tag match of styles between the Bucks and the Brotherhood of the Natural Dustin Rhodes and Cody Rhodes.
Brotherhood.
It was definitely it was one of the things I loved about that match too was the fact that it was a contrast of styles of like modern tag team wrestling, which is like fast and flashy and a lot of high spots, versus the Rhodes brothers, where they definitely wrestled that conservative old school Minnesota Wrecking Crew style, where it's like, okay, grab a body part, focus on it, keep wearing the body part, divide the ring, keep the guy trapped in your side of the ring, keep beating him up. Like, it was very much old school tag team wrestling that those guys were. And it was kind of, it's like I said, the best thing about pro wrestling is that sometimes styles make matches. Yeah. It's like you have the high flying and the flashiness, and then of course you have like just a straightforward old school approach that the Rhodes brothers were doing, and it made for a good match because there were several times in the match where they were concentrating on Nick Jackson's arm, or they were definitely trying to like isolate Matt Jackson and beat him up. Awesome tag team match. I still feel like the production overall is a little off at times with cues and timings and endings.
Yeah, a little bit of weird stuff going on. You know what I didn't like?
What's that?
It's kind of annoying me a little bit, and it's not really a big thing. It's just me being nitpicky.
Yeah.
That chandelier that they use above the entrance, that kind of like Vegas looking kind of chandelier, but it's just lights.
Yeah.
They keep using the same thing. It's kind of like, I don't know, I don't like it.
I think you're just being nitpicky.
Yeah. But every time I see it, I still remember, like, I'm still thinking of like All In,
or doing Double or Nothing.
Double or Nothing, and then the Double or Nothing. So
absolutely,
to me, it's just I don't know, just do something different. And then the other thing that threw me. Go ahead.
No, I said I think in due time, especially with TV coming up in the fall, you will see something different.
Hopefully. And I was just gonna say the other thing that threw me off was not threw me off, but I thought they should have waited a little bit longer. Is with the Dark Order, they should have milked it a little bit more before just throwing him out there in the ring, like kind of like Bray Wyatt.
Yeah,
they're kind of that kind of a gimmick they're using.
It's like it's a little creepy.
They should have waited a little bit more.
I agree with you, but I think right now, because nobody's on TV just yet, the thing that's not on their side, the only thing that's on their side is that they have Being the Elite. They have, of course, the backstage, footage, that they do on the ride to, one thing I do like that they do is that leading up to every pay-per-view, they have like a backstage, kind of like what HBO does for boxing, where it's like, on the road to Fyter Fest or on the road to Double or Nothing. It's like all these little backstage things or promos or things going on leading up to each event. I like that a lot better than just corny vignettes on Monday nights.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that they have on their side. I agree with you. I think what they should have done is use those segments are those weekly episodic things that they do to build up the Dark Order instead of having them just debut, at Fight for the Fallen. They could have gone all the way to All Out, debut there, and cause some havoc or something like that. But at the same time, I'm not totally mad because they were very impressive as a tag team.
Yeah, they're good.
Very impressive. But I agree. They could have milked it.
Yeah.
You could have done some promos, and have them build them up online.
Yeah, build their mystery.
Build the mystery a little bit. I agree. They could have done that. But I mean, it is what it is. Yeah. Overall, an awesome tag match. Mm-hmm. I was really shocked to see how CIMA performed against Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
I thought, okay, Kenny Omega's going to win. And yes, he did. But there were a couple of moments where whoa. Yeah. CIMA might go for the upset, and it came very close, and it was awesome.
Yeah, that guy can throw down.
Like I said, he's older, but he can still go just as well as he did back in his 20s in Dragon Gate, which is amazing.
Yeah, definitely.
So overall, I mean, I think, and the one thing I do like about AEW is the fact that the crowds seem genuine. They're genuine. Sometimes people go to WWE and people like WWE. It's what we grew up with. If you're an American, if you live in America, it's like the NFL. It's like the NBA. Everybody knows what it is. It's part of the fabric of Americana. When you think of Americana, you think of Major League Baseball and NFL and Monday Night Football and Monday Night Raw at this point. It's just part of our, diaspora. Yeah. It's part of the American consciousness of entertainment that you grew up with. We grew up with it. Kids now are growing up with it. Kids 10 years ago are growing up with it. But the thing that I like about it is that with AEW, and of course it's brand new, so anything brand new people are always going to like because it's brand new, it's different. But I do like the fact there is a very genuine reaction to it. It isn't just we got to cheer because we're here, or it's always been here. It's not at that point where it's being taken for granted. Yeah. It seems like people, and the thing is the wrestling is raw. Things are very raw. And I mean, there's certain things that are a little bit off production wise. I'm sure they'll figure it out. They've definitely improved. The commentary has improved. So I'm really excited to see what the future holds. I know All Out will be amazing. I'm really excited about that. Also excited to see Aja Kong against Awesome Kong.
Yeah.
They have history. They used to tag team in Japan together. Aja Kong was in a lot of ways Awesome Kong's mentor when Awesome Kong wrestled in Japan when she was much younger. So it'll be really cool. If you really know your history there, you'll know that there's a lot of history between those two. So that was really awesome to see that stare down. Excited to see how that'll happen. Yeah. But I'm excited to see what's going to happen next for AEW.
Yeah, some awesome shows.
Absolutely.
Up ahead.
Absolutely. With that being said, man, you got anything else, man?
No, man. I think we covered a lot today. That's it for me.
Cool, man.
How about you?
I'm good, man. Like I said, I'm back to all these dating apps and being rejected. You know how it is. Or do you? No, you really know. You don't know how it is because you've been married for a while.
I don't know how it is now.
Anyway, on that note, enjoy pro wrestling, kids. Until next week, peace.
Adios.